Are you ready?
Bring on the wrecking machine.
Absolutely not. Are you? Rock and are crazy, and I love you.
Bring on the wrecking machine, setting your dreams of heaven on fire. Bring on the wrecking machine. Bring on the wrecking machine. Bring on the wrecking machine.
Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I am Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden, and it is Friday, September 29th, YC125, and we have some stuff to show off about the new event, but first, we need to talk. It is the Eve Universe Show! Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome if you're new. Thank you so much for that, sheesh. Sorry we missed the actual announcement that you are, in fact, ready. I'm not sure if I am, but we will get to that in a second. Oh my gosh. Punchinello, it's good to see so many of you members and everything here today. Johnny Appleseed. We've got Aikawarazu Chan. We got Milk. We got Kali. And Ganai with his gift and a sub. Sheesh being insane. Marcus, of course, our resident fact finder.
Go get him, Ash. Makubal ho.
And Dutch Gunner. And others. And of course, any of you who are new, welcome, welcome. Make sure to like the show. Subscribe if you haven't, because we are here to raise literacy and EVE Online and help as many people understand EVE Online as possible. So, we begin our journey today here at the Old Man Star to Valor Gate. This gate actually has some really interesting history, both in-game and for me in particular. And somehow it segues into what I want to talk about, which is... all right. Spoiler, I'm not happy, but it kind of makes sense. All right. So this gate, there's a lore story called, I think it's just called Old Man Star. So there's this guy, Old Man Devereaux, who was part of a group that left Valor to go and put up a Stargate in this destination system. But there was a malfunction. And yes, you were, Kali. And there was a malfunction, and everyone in the crew died in their cryostasis or whatever, except for Old Man Devereaux, who was the kind of the drone specialist of the ship. So, over the course of like decades, he repairs the ship, and they crashed into an asteroid. So he uses the resources from the asteroid and what he has there, and he continues to tweak and modify his drones to make them more and more usable for what he needs. And eventually, decades after they knew, or years after they thought that like it was just going to be a dead gate, suddenly the Gaten Valor turns on, and in comes Devereaux, now an old man, and he comes in, and that's why they renamed the system Old Man Star in respect to Old Man Devereaux. Hold on, I've got like a single hair on my nose or something. What is happening? What are you doing? Hold on. The curse of long hair. I think. I don't know. That's gonna bug me the whole time. And now my cat's bugging me for food. All right, hold on. Let's just. See, we're doing it live. Oh. All right, so that man goes on to found a corporation specializing in drone technology, which is known as Creodrone, which is one of the largest Gallente corporations, and the people who make the Ishtar. So yeah, this is one thing you're going to learn today if you didn't already know it. So once again, make sure to like this the channel or the video because that helps get people to watch it, and subscribe because that helps you get my videos. And go check out my extensive backlog of 600 plus videos, tutorials, lore videos, all kinds of stuff. But today, we're going to have to once again put the event stuff on pause because CCP dropped a different event piece of information that I would like to talk about. And, oh yeah, before we get into that, I have remembered to now unmute the desktop audio. So helping me with my expedition today and already here, if he wants to chime in, I have Malak from my alliance, one of my right-hand men.
Hi.
You can say hi. Hey, there you go. How you doing this morning? I dragged you out of bed early.
Yeah, I tired.
Yeah. Well, luckily, like I said, you before the show, you get to recover a little bit because I have things to say. Okay. So that said, let's just jump into it. The Crimson Harvest is coming. All right. Oh. So, good news and bad news. So, the Crimson Harvest, in fact, actually, shoot. Now that we've even started, I immediately realized something that I want to have pulled up. Give me a second. I promise you I'm not delaying things or padding. Somebody accused, like on an older video today or the other day, put on my thing saying like, I hate it when YouTubers pad out their videos with like this opening stuff. And I'm just like, I'm trying to let people show up so that way I don't have a bunch of people that misses the beginning. I'm sorry, man. I try to put the timestamp at the bottom now, like by default. Any rate, where was I? I think it's on the Notion. Yeah. So I even finally did this. Now they messed it all up. The content you came to see. Hold on. Activities? Events. Aha! Found it. All right. So on my Notion, we have the different events. So, and I even made this calendar. So basically, no dark mode. Why are you doing this to all of us? Here we go. Does this work? On? Yeah. All right. Sorry about that. All right. So as you can see here, we actually had a pretty decent array of holidays. We had the Guardian Gala is Serpentis and Angels aligned in February. The Federation Grand Prix sometimes slipped in March, but then in April we have the Hunt with the Garistas. We have Capsuleer Day with the SOCT. And then we have this set of Federation Day, Liberation Day, Foundation Day, and Union Day, which were Gallente, Mimitar, Amar, and Caldari, respectively. And then we have Crimson Harvest, and then usually nothing set for November, and then the Winter Nexus. And that's just our calendar year, right? The thing is that the year before, they moved to a more narrative style of doing these events. So they tied the events into the narrative. So like, for instance, the Hunt was when Esri Hogazotsu was discovered in Jita 4.4, and she had to escape with all of her capsules, and that was the whole event, right? Likewise, the Guardian Gala event was surrounded around Zohar, the Angel Cartel dude, and his kidnapping of, or I guess hijacking of the Ore Rockwall class Esperance, which was where the compression technology was being researched. So the issue is that, and then of course Federation Day, Liberation Day, Foundation Day, and Union Day, some of them were login events. Why are you pinging me? Stop. Those were often login events, but they started to actually build those up so they all had fully established events. And so this year they canceled the Guardian Gala because they said that the Angels were busy. They canceled the Hunt because they said that the Guristas were busy. Capsuleer Day happened. But all of the different Empire days were basically just not even login rewards. They were just sales of the skins. Hey, sheesh. All right, well, thank you. We'll deal with that when it comes across the line. So they didn't even give us the warp speed bonus. And what's even more bizarre is that Liberation Day is supposed to happen every year, like by definition, because there's a station that's supposed to change ownership based on who wins the Liberation Day that year. But they only have done it once, and it was the Thucker. And so now the Thucker get to keep that station for an extra year because it wasn't able to be competed over, if it even returns at all. So we'll see. Hold on. I was legitimately tempted. Or
hit that thumbs up. Let's support our Eve rep.
There you go. Thank you for that. Sheesh. Calm down. I appreciate everything. Ooh. But yes, the liking of the stream does help way more than you could expect. Like legitimately, you guys, especially like no kidding. Like Sheesh has been like totally cheerleading in my channel and stuff, which I did not ask him to do, and probably would refuse if I asked him to stop. But that's cool. Like he just really like he's into it, and I really appreciate all of his support quite remarkably. But I will say that the videos in which he was like calling out likes did get more likes, and those got a lot more circulation, especially outside of people that normally watch my videos. So the impact is noticeable. I can say that much. Either way, let's get back into it. So, we basically get one out of the 6 different events with the Blood Raiders returning. And there are times in which they've kind of hinted that there would be some sort of return to things. Oh, shoot. Another thing I need to look up first. Hold on. News archive. What is going on with it? I have a ghost hair. It's... Anyone watching Born after the game was launched? Okay, whatever. Hey, Brian, how's it going? Thank you for that. All right. Where was I? Archives. Let's go search Viridian. So my real cope started with Viridian. With this dev blog, Viridian and Beyond. Because they say here, we've also shifted focus to events that bring you more opportunities and have greater impact within them. At FanFest 2022, we unveiled the concept behind ARCs and a new framework in which you can co-create the world with us through your actions and contributions. The most recent example of an ARC event was the Shadow War, which was a phenomenal campaign in which Capsuleers aided their chosen faction to achieve key strategic goals in the conflict, such as constructing the Empire's first ever interstellar shipcaster, with some managing this more swiftly than others. The Shadow War also got players into new areas of space, blah, 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 blah. Oh, hold on. No, sorry, that wasn't even the part. Some of the... Looking beyond Viridian this summer, teams are already working on the next expansion this winter. However, with still lots of great stuff to sink your teeth into in the meantime. As you may have noticed, there's been a shakeup in your regular cadence of events in EVE. Some of the historic events, such as the 4x Empire Day summer events, have been put on hold to enable us to strengthen the tools needed to bring you a bigger and better content faster and more reliably. You can still look forward to seasonal events such as Crimson Harvest and Winter Nexus later this year, with an extended Crimson Harvest dates confirmed as 5th of October to 6th of November. And this is where my cope began, because I'm like, oh, this makes so much sense. This makes it make sense to me. They planned on redoing, like, revamping the event system. They targeted Crimson Harvest as to when it's going to come back. That's why these events weren't ready yet. Then, during the FanFest stuff, they talk about the Crimson Harvest, I think, right? Maybe with Awakening Zarzakh, was it? Let me check. Maybe not. Either way, there was another time where they mentioned the Crimson Harvest or whatever, or the event system. But my cope is that, oh, well, this must be an indication that they're actually, like, redoing some critical pieces or whatever. And then, so my evidence was, okay, or my theory is that that's what's happening. My hypothesis was that means that the Crimson Harvest will be, like, the first sign of something bigger and better, because of course it will be. The Crimson Harvest is always the one that's first. So cool. And thus begins, insert the boo boo I'm a fool meme. All right. So Crimson Harvest is coming. New Eden is about to be overrun with terrifying events in honor of the scariest of the year. This year's Crimson Harvest event is just around the corner, and you better get ready because it is longer and more gruesome than ever before and bringing spine-chilling rewards. I feel like pointing out right now, because I've been kind of negative, and there will be some negativity, but the Crimson Harvest itself is actually a really fun event. It's a good event, and God bless events being back. So, you know, like, the good news is that it seems like this event, the TLDR, is that this event is not going to be widely join the invited, help us bring back Zarzakh and take down the war zones, bring the empires to their knees. Anywho, so this is going to be a good opportunity for people to make a lot of money, for example, running these sites, especially the data and relic sites. And you can go back and watch the
Asherothi, say it. Those pirates are gonna hit hard.
Those pirates are gonna hit hard. I don't know. I'll say it. So the point is that this is going to be a good opportunity for people to make money if you haven't done an event before. I know a lot of new bros have been concerned, and especially with the current arc, the new thing that started with the pirates being extremely anti-alpha, as it were, as far as its content goes, and really anti-solo in a lot of ways. Like, it's designed to create small group content, or focus on small group content, I think. But that doesn't leave, like, it's made a lot of people really concerned, given the fact that, you know, eventing is usually a really good way to make money. So the return of Crimson Harvest is going to be big for a lot of people, I think. The Winter Nexus is the Christmas event, and that one is actually, like, usually the most lucrative of the year. So, the Crimson Harvest puts Capsuleers in the middle of a bloody conflict between the Blood Raider Covenant and the Order of Tetramon. So I probably have videos about the Crimson Harvest, the previous year's version, and we'll be looking more at this as we go. But effectively, you choose to either support the Order of Tetramon or the Blood Raiders. If you support the Blood Raiders, then you're going after the Order of Tetramon. Like, both sites spawn, and you can go and run both sites. But you only get credit for running the opposite of the side that you're on. And if you run Blood Raider sites, the principal reward is like ISK and like Bounty ISK and Overseer effects. Whereas if you're killing the Amar, the Order of St. Tetramon, your principal reward is going to be these war clone blanks that can be sold to the Blood Raiders for cash. And I wouldn't be surprised if other people, especially with the Deathless acting, are going to show interest in those war clone blanks, but we'll have to find out. So, well, yeah, the Easter event is usually the small ship event. That's the thing. So we do have an extra long Crimson Harvest, which seems like it'll be a lot pretty good. And they specify that there'll be rewards for 25 out of the 30 days. So make sure you're logging in basically every day from the 5th of October to the 6th of November. You can slip up 5 times and still get all of the rewards. Which, if I remember correctly, the rewards are... So the final reward is 250,000 skill points for Omega and 75,000 for Alpha. And that's on top of the other 25 days of boosters, skins, Evermarks, and skill points. So, you know, it'll be good. Now, let me double check. That actually was ignorable. And yes. Okay. So a couple things. So it says the Crimson Harvest puts Capsuleers in the middle of a bloody conflict between the Blood Raider Covenant and the Order of St. Tetramon. You'll find the bone-chilling combat and hacking sites scattered throughout high-sec, low-sec, null-sec, and wormhole systems. More challenging sites promising even greater rewards can be found by those who dare to dig deeper into the mysteries of the void. So this is actually going to be, this is one of the things that we don't know. So last year they put the advanced sites in and around Turner and the other transmuters because that was what was happening at the time. So the question is, where are these sites going to be focused around? Because they could be around the 4 exits of Zarzakh, for example. It's hard to say. That would be a decent enough answer. But the hardest sites, the best loot, the best sites are actually escalations from those advanced sites. So not all, like, it's a chance to get one. Getting involved in the horrific clash, as simple as picking a side through the agency section of the event before taking on unique sets of challenges with rewards specific to your selected loyalty. It's usually Blood Raider skins and Order of St. Tetramon skins, depending on which side you join. Community fittings supplied by EVE partners and players will be available to view during the event, so you can put your best fit on. Oh my god. Combat sites will appear all over as anomalies in the probe scanner. Head to your preferred area of space. Use the agency anomaly scanner to scan down sites, and then warp in to take a series of frightening challenges in the dungeons that await. So, in the previous version, there was like special keys that allow you to bypass the combat sites, at least extra rooms at the combat sites. So that way, like, if, you know, if a max powered character, like the guys who are running it at Marauders are probably just going through the whole, like, through the middle gate, which means if you have like weaker equipment, you can get the keys from the hacking sites to bypass. Well, actually, I think they also drop in the combat site, but either way, you can get these keys to bypass the gate, so you don't have to go through the middle gate. So while anybody who's trying to race you has to do that, you can go directly into the last room and try to kill, or at least get damage on the final rat before the opponent does, because that's the only rat that matters. Yeah. And also the exploration sites are pretty good. It is the bloodiest time of the year, and killing is a means of communication. During the Crimson Harvest event, PvP kills will drop at a higher loot rate, around 90% instead of the regular 50%. Find the pumpkin icon tagging the wrecks of your helpless victims and claim your bounties. Yep. So wrecks turn into little pumpkins, and drop rates become 90%. This means that ganking significantly is increased during this time, especially ganking of haulers and mission runners. Anybody who would use expensive modules or be carrying expensive things that might drop. This is the time to go after it. This is not the event, as some people have mistakenly thought, that allows implants to be done. So I would assume that there's probably going to be some people potting just because they think that it's a good thing. Hey, thanks, Prime. The around 90% instead. So so this is not when the implants will drop from pods. Expect people to pod because a lot of people think it is, but it's not. But it is the loot drop time. So expect, especially like Uedama, other gate camps, to be even more patrolled, because the chances of them getting good loot is much, or at least the chance of them getting enough of your loot to pay for the ships that it takes to gank you goes up. So be careful of that for the month of October. Every day of the Crimson Harvest will bring devilish login rewards. We already covered that. Okay, so what is my concern? My concern is that this is not functionally different than previous Crimson Harvest. And I followed up, and I'm not going to talk about who I followed up with, but they should relatively know. They're not actually on that team, but they're tangential to it. And the thing is that
welcome to the number one trove of knowledge for Evelore. Cheers, Ash. 07.
07 to you. So I would expect this event to be basically the same as last year, for better or worse. I asked, why did we have a whole year off of events? And the answer I got was something I didn't really want to get, but it kind of makes sense, which is, I mean, really it boils down to a single fact that I didn't know, which is that Team RoAch, who you can even go back to my previous event, like my previous interviews with CCP Fozzie on a couple of the events, including the Doctor Who event. He was one of the main people on Team RoAch, which was the events team. So there's a few things that are going on here. The short of it is that Team RoAch, the events team, has effectively been dissolved, and most of them basically transitioned into the Faction Warfare Live Arc events team, which makes, actually, like, at first it's very dramatic, but it kind of makes sense, and I'll explain why. So what the events were beginning to do, or what the events have really done since they got revamped the last time back in 2020, I think it was, with the first Crimson Harvest. Well, I mean, Crimson Harvest has always been around, but like the full calendar year had kind of been fleshed out as, well, last year and the year before. But like, there was a desire for them to weave together events with the narrative, right? So as I said, like Esri Hokusotsu was introduced and was the reason why we had the hunt that year, right? But now we have a problem, which is that we have annual events, and for some of these annual events it makes sense. Like, and most of the events are actually baked in to be that way. The Crimson Harvest is an annual event by the Blood Raiders. The Guardian Gala is an annual ball put on by this by the Angel Cartel for the Serpentis, and the Serpentis. The hunt is a little prank that the Guristas do in the Easter or whatever, in different way. Like, so there's different kind of justifications for why these happen every year. But by tying them to something in the now, the question became, what do you do? Like, last year we got Rafik Zohar for the from Wormholes with Love, and they stole the thing. What happens? Does it just so happen that Rafik Zohar raids somebody else again? Like, do we always have it? So like, oh, well, you can time it on February, Rafik's gonna raid, like, or Esri Hokusotsu in the escape, like, she's not going to escape from Jita 4-4 using capsules again. So one of the big problems is that they've written themselves into a corner. They've created narratives that do not repeat for events that do. And so I think as a company, they transitioned more like, well, the clear solution to this is CCP Dragon has been working on events and other stuff for a very, very long time. And I think that he also probably worked on home fronts. He's worked on events like when they first started. But he's a mechanics of, or no, he was a designer. Either way, the point is that that idea of like how we tell our stories and the kind of events that happen gets shifted more over to these arcs, which are focused around faction warfare and what they're doing with faction warfare over the course of the next 2 years, right? Which includes last year, or this whole year, and next year with the corruption, all that stuff, right? So, yes, there's new skins. That's true. But that's just because there's new login rewards. So they have to come out with the new add the skins to other places. So basically, from my understanding, the events are being ran by effectively a skeleton team of what they were. Now, why they couldn't just flip on the events this year, I don't know. Maybe it took them time to get caught up. Maybe they just needed things to cool off because of all of the things being tied to stuff last year. Maybe because I don't know. But the weird thing is that like if you expect it to be totally like, okay, they moved on, then they wouldn't do the Crimson Harvest or the Winter Nexus this year. They would just be like, oh yeah, we've just moved on to doing arcs. But like, so I'll be honest with you, I don't know what is, I don't think that there's any, unfortunately, Marcus, this is happening on a level. This is like on a marketing and leadership level. There's no like, oh, we want people to do different content here. This is more, we just like people from above are saying, no, we need more resources allocated to these projects over this project. And the people that are running the events are kind of just have to deal with that as like a subset of their things that they do. From my that's my guess. That's guess. So. Well, I mean, they kind of do, but it's been moved over to this faction warfare stuff and the arcs. So it kind of makes sense. And I hope that, but like the other thing is that what doesn't make sense is what is going on with the Crimson Harvest and the Winter Nexus. I still suspect that there might have been some tooling going on in the background or whatever, if only to make it so that they're more, like flip the switch and they work kind of thing. So that way a team, like up until now, events were something that were being actively developed, and they were being actively developed because the tools to build things like home fronts were being actively developed, and the events were being used to be able to test those tech. But now they have other things to direct people to, and the events themselves are effectively like you can either continue to improve on the ones that already exist or consider them done. So, but if you're considering them done, how much are they going to be supported from now on? I don't know if the Crimson Harvest means the return of the calendar or if it just means that we get the Crimson Harvest in the winter event. The short of it is, let's make sure that CCP understands how much we love events and we need to keep them going, even if it's just the normal annual events with arcs going on top of them. I think that that's fine. My concern is that CCP has gotten the feedback that like when they're running events and arcs at the same time, people get exhausted. But the problem with that is that let's look at the arc right now. 90% of the people that I help out, you know, if you come to me and ask me how to do it, I don't have really solid answers for you because it's like T3 cruisers and other fancy stuff. There is no alpha friendly version of this per se. I want to try some stuff, experiment with some stuff next week, potentially, but like it's going to be ridiculous. But yeah, I think that we definitely need events because it's a good way for new players, because I think that newer players often are more keyed in on getting into the events, Although when people are like, oh, well, events are honestly not necessarily newbie friendly either because people race it or whatever. But we also mean like different tiers of newbie, right? Like you can be in a battleship, you can have your really good mission runner or whatever. You can get your flavor of the month Tengu and still be, still have the billions of ISK that you can make from an event be the first time you've ever had multi-billions of ISK ever in your EVE career, right? As in liquid. But also, the Crimson Harvest has protections against Marauders too, because Marauders aren't always, aren't going to waste their time with using the keys all the time. You can usually slip in there and get out before a Marauder can even get through the second room, especially if you get to it first. Yeah, I think that they definitely need to have the events. Like, for instance, the Easter event, like, helps people learn how to descan. So many people, like, X up, like the stream, comment in chat, whatever. If you learned descan or got, like, you might have mechanically known it, but you actually learned descan because of the hunt. I think that that's going to get some X's. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. All right. So are we good with the Crimson Harvest? There we go, Comey. Exactly. One person. All right. Well, fair enough. Oh, there we go. There we go. Stream delay is always fun. Yeah, I will say, speaking of which, if you're hearing this, like some people like to ask in rookie chat, how dangerous is low sec? What do I need in order to go to low sec? I will say this, regardless of what ship you're doing or what activity you're doing, the prerequisite for being able to go into low sec with any amount of confidence that you are going to do anything at all is knowing how to descan. I have videos about it. Other people have videos about it. We can talk about it more another time. We'll probably talk about it more today because we're going into wormholes. Maybe, hopefully, if we get around to it. But yeah, so if you want to get into low sec or really anywhere besides high sec, number one, learn how to descan. So let's see. Can I just do a Crimson Harvest and a Raven? Yeah. No, the Crimson Harvest, I think, has no ship limits. How do capsuleers get ready for November 14th? We are not fully sure yet. But basically, well, no, that's not even true. So in order to be ready for November 14th, you can first and foremost, well, the big thing is standings. Okay. Like when direct enlistment came out, a lot of people found out the hard way that they required positive standings with the alliance, or sorry, the faction that they're trying to join direct enlistment with, right? Now you can get around that by joining a corporation that is enlisted, like the entire corporation is in faction warfare. But then the entire corporation's average is used to see whether or not that corporation is allowed to stay in faction warfare. And there's been plenty of hilarious examples of, corporations losing their access to faction warfare in inappropriate times or inconvenient times, and then have to rush to go get a bunch of people with their standings up, so that way they can be let back into faction warfare the next day. So you got to keep an eye on that. My point is that we don't know what standings are going to be required for to join the Angel Cartel or the Guristas. We're pretty sure that joining the Angel Cartel and the Guristas is going to be required for joining or for gaining credit with the Deathless, because those are the two agencies that you can work for that are tied to the Deathless. But we don't know what standings you're going to require. The rumor is, or apparently at the panel, what CCP said was negative -0.2 or -2 to -5 is going to be somewhere between in there is going to be the cutoff point. So but remember, and this is the thing that most people didn't realize, this is usually tested unmodified, your unmodified score. So screw your skills, screw your connections. I don't give a crap about your diplomacy. You need unmodified standings. So if you want to make sure that you're 100% safe, you want to be at least -2 or above with the faction that you're going to want to join. So that's a big piece of this event, right? Not only when you get turn-ins, not only do you get the token, so you get the token and then you turn in the token, and that gives you not only the blueprint, which is cool, but also gives you standings with the corporation, with the faction that you turn it into. So right now is a really good time to get part of it. But as I said, this stuff requires teamwork. And so to that end, might I suggest to you the Invited? I've made an alliance that is built off of the concept, off of the Convocation of Empyreans, but separate from the Convocation of Empyreans. And the Invited, its major focus is on the forwarding the objectives of the Deathless Circle, and more importantly, helping people get access to it. So I know there's a lot of people asking what to do right now. You can go to those different areas of space and start running the level 1 missions, or if you can, the epic arcs, which we'll be showing stuff about that before. Yeah, Malak went from -10 to basically 0 standings in a week. It's absolutely possible, but more importantly, we're going to be needing to do the hives, the drifter hives, and like the sleeper sites that we hopefully will get to doing today, although I'm starting to question. What we're going to need to do is start having these fleets together. So, if you want to get involved, or if you want to help make things happen, the Invited is going to be building up that's where I can promise you there's going to be things happening. So you can always apply to the Invited. And hop on our Discord, which you can find on aderon.org. There should be links down below for all these sorts of things. Just when it says Convocation of Empyreans, just think Invited. And then message me in game or whatever, and we'll get you in. We're still trying to get all of our systems tied over to include Invited as if it was part of the convocation, as our tools do. So yeah. Nice things about living in Gallente spaces, I don't have bad standings towards both. Well, yeah, but except for the Deathless had me go and butcher a lot of angels and blow up a lot of angel structures looking for his goddamn code. So, and the blueprints or the pieces of the destroyers that are coming. By the way, you know what, Malak, if you're okay, I think we should probably just assume that we're not going to do this.
Okay.
Because I just realized I could easily talk for another hour, but I don't know if I can wrap it up in 15 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't even found a suitable class of Wormhole yet, so.
Oh, you're looking around. Well, I mean, yeah, just let me know if you find something. And I'm a total new business game. I feel like content might be out of reach for me at the moment, but I'm here for you all. And so right now, the Drifter Hive fleets can be totally newbie friendly. The sleeper sites can be newbie friendly, maybe if you have a team, but probably not. And of course, Crimson Harvest is pretty newbie friendly. I will say that being newbie friendly, we did have Sheesh come with us yesterday when we did stuff in the Wormhole, and he just came in a destroyer and salvaged behind us, which is a very important piece of sleeper sites. And he got rich and got to feel like he contributed and, all that sort of stuff. I will say that we only found one doodad per site. So I haven't got enough sites to know whether or not that's consistent or not. But you know, I have one of each of those pieces, so I just need to get a coalesced element at this point, and then figure out how to turn them in at Zarzakh, and then we'll know how much standings you make. Yeah, if this doesn't happen today, we'll be doing it. We'll be doing these things tomorrow, or I mean not tomorrow, but next week. Anywho, shoot, what was I going to talk about? Do you remember what I was talking about when I first transitioned to the fact that we're not going to be?
I mean, we were talking about newbie friendly.
Yeah, well, the Crimson Harvest is definitely going to be more newbie friendly than what's going on here. But also, there's a bit of a difference between newbie friendly and alpha friendly as well. Honestly, so outside of the requirements to get the standings grind, I would suggest that level 1, or, you know, missioning in for the Pirate Corporation is actually pretty newbie friendly. You might want to figure out how to get a friend or someone to move in more than a couple of ships for you. Because like most people will, like, it's designed to be done in like interceptors and pirate frigates and stuff. So like you could probably get by in just a normal frigate. Just realize that like it's nullsec, so you'll probably get got every once in a while, and who cares?
Yeah, and if you're doing just the level 1 missions, it's the same level 1 missions as in highsec. It's just
Right.
it's just a null. So
And
you know, you really don't need a whole lot.
But the point is that it is a big impact, because the thing is that the way that storyline missions work is that you get a storyline mission.
Oh boy.
You get a storyline mission. Don't make me like make you show me your financial records, so that way I know that you're not like putting yourself into ruin and excitement. Sheesh, man. All right. So anyway, I appreciate it so much. And I'm sure everybody else does, because I'm allowed to do this. So, but it is a really good way to make me no longer be able to think.
Malak.
Yeah, turning in and extracting is going to be the most exciting part. Well, I mean, like, yeah, as an alpha, you can help scout. Oh, yeah. Right, intercept. Well, but you can have a nullified interceptor. But the point is that, like, oh yeah. What you need to do is there's 16. Every 16 missions that you do, you get a storyline mission, and that storyline mission is how you get faction standings. So you do not care about doing the best missions that you can. You care about doing the most missions you can. And as it turns out, frigates in level 1s are pretty good for that. And I believe that you can do level 1 missions regardless of your standings, right? Alec?
Yeah, that's correct. Sorry for background noise.
Oh, it's fine. And then, yeah, the Pirate Epic Arc, it can be done in an interceptor. You can be in a Dramiel if you're fancy. Doesn't the level of mission matter? Not really. Not for the storyline mission. And when it comes to pirates, like that and the Epic Arc are going to be your biggest ways of doing it. So like the Epic Arc, I think, took me from... So I was -10. And then I did the Epic Arc. And you can see what happened here. So I was at... Wait, what?
It's because we shared.
No, but like... I thought I was at -10. Why am I at -4 now? Hold on. Oh, because that was faction. Oh. Was my Angel Cartel standings not as bad as I thought it was?
Your diplomacy showing.
Right, I know that, but like I thought it was -10 ahead of time. But this is saying...
Oh no, it's that big of a jump from to just doing the epic arc.
But is negative 4.5 after? I thought you were at like -6 or something like that if you had maximum diplomacy.
Oh.
Is that not true?
Yeah.
I think I wasn't actually at. Hold on. Now I'm confused. This is why we do these things live, right? You know, hold on. Where is the Angel Cartel? Probably at the bottom. No, I'm just flat out wrong. I thought I completely decimated. I overestimated how much I destroyed my standings. Either way, the point is that we both did it and then we turned them in together. Although we had a third person steal some of. No, I'm just kidding. We had a third person with one of the turn-ins. So, in the first turn-in we got 1.25 shared together, and then the second one we got 1.875, and that's just like a raw number basically on top of it. So, that's like you basically get 3.5 standings just by doing the epic arc. Hit 1 if you've been to the fulcrum. Hey man, post the invited if you're both a member and in the invited. How about that? What? Or the deathless? I don't think I have the invited one yet. Do I? No, it's the deathless one. Do the deathless one. That's right. I need more members before I can add the invited. That's what it is. Definitely. So when you get a storyline, invite friends. Well, no, because it splits the rewards. And normally storyline missions don't split rewards for faction. So I'm actually kind of surprised. Oh, because this isn't storyline. These are epic arcs. This was us turning in the epic arc, which is different than storyline. Storylines do not share. This episode brought to you by Sheesh. Are you attempting to...
Oh boy.
Are you trying to stave off my Raid Shadow Legends sponsorship? I will say this, I've applied. I've also unironically spent a lot of time playing it. Jay! How's it going, Jay?
Thank you everyone for hitting the thumbs up.
Yeah, no, this guy is legitimately hooked on Raid.
Yes, it's unironically a problem. Hey, Vicky.
Connecting. One.
Jay's going to come with us and become invited.
Oh, yeah.
Ganai's sister just turned 18. We are hitting her first beer. Cheers, guys. Hey, congratulations to your sister. And I'd like to point out that Ganai does not live in the United States. So, before anybody jumps to conclusions, not the whole world works like us. Yeah. Welcome to the real world. Sorry it's such a mess.
Since we likely won't be getting to the wormholes, you could probably share the fit.
Oh yeah, I can at least talk about what our plan was. So, this is my setup for running C1 through C3 data and relic sites. There's actually distressingly little information about how to run data and relic sites, the sleeper ones, mostly because everybody tells you not to do it because it's not worth doing. Or if you're going to do it, you just do it to run the sites, the rats, so you treat it as just like a combat site, right? So, we're kind of playing by ear here, but one of the things is like you can treat it as like a little bit tougher than the other sites in the same tier of space. So we ran with a bunch of Drex last night and just totally raffle stomped a C3. So it's time for me to try this one. This one should be able to solo C1 and C2, no problem. Who knows about C3? We'll have to find out. One of my principal concerns with it is that normally I want to have a web on this thing when I'm doing combat, but I'm kind of in this hybrid mode, mostly because I have the way this ship normally works is that it has two configurations: this covert cloaking scanning version, and then I swap this out for a subsystem that's not here. The liquid crystal? No. Nanobot injector. So with the nanobot injector, I get an extra mid slot, and I lose the cloak. So that allows me to swap to a web and a tracking computer and a battery. If I wanted to hack and combat at the same time, and have the web, I have to drop the battery, which is unfortunate because that makes me not cap stable. So I'm kind of hoping that this works with the battery. They should have put those doodads in. I know. I thought that they were going to put those doodads into sleeper caches. So what are we going after? We are looking for, in data sites, we will be able to find element control data. And in the relic sites, we'll find elemental containment vessels. In addition to that, the loot from the sites, loot and salvage from a data site. What is it? We did 2 level 3 data sites and had just about 200 million ISK worth of loot and salvage out of them. So, you know, roughly 100 million ISK per site on top of... oh my god. I don't even have a sound for that. Dark Draco's coming in with 5 gifted membership. Thank you so much. Going to Snoo, Aikawarazu Chan, Titan, Peckin Mix, and Quzxpon, which I mean, that's a list of people that I would choose to have membership. So good. Bob was good to us for that, at least. And then of course Ganai coming in, not to be outdone, gifting a membership that goes to G Ashcoat. Thank you so much, guys. I did. So I talked about a lot of this stuff last week, or yesterday rather, but we can talk about it a little bit. It's really interesting that they, like, hold on. Hold on. I'm just gonna let that play without sound for a little bit. So it's clear that, like, the Jove are back on the menu, boys, right? People have been asking for years, why won't they do something with the Jovians and all that stuff? And they have done some stuff, but it's, like, relatively muted in, like, you know, oh, look, there's drifters in Pochvin. I wonder what that's all about, you know, whatever. But the drifters themselves haven't, like, been in focus. And, of course, the space bread, the coalesced elements, have never had a use. They've always kind of been this joke. Yep, Snoo, you'll only... more Ash content now. That's it. So, where was I?
Space bread.
Yeah. So, you know, you'd be right to think that, like, a lot of this stuff has been, like, neglected. And for example, we even were just talking about how these Relican data sites are literally the sites that everyone tells you to not do, right? Like, oh yeah, don't bother with those. You know, whatever. So could you not take a mobile depot and refit when you have the last sleeper? It's a sleeper of the first wave left to hack. Yeah, but you could absolutely do that. But I want to see if I can do it without refitting and dropping the mobile depot for now, and then make whatever changes I need to after the fact, or, like, you know, when I need to. This is kind of the most greedy version of the fit, if that makes sense. So, yeah, pass the shield fit for the Stratios. That sounds likely. Are the Triglavians going to sit by and watch us touch Jovian tech? I don't think so. So, here's the thing. clearly we're focusing on the Jovians again, both in what has been happening, but also the verbiage that CCP used in places like FanFest, right? So that's cool. However, I think it's noteworthy that this was something I've predicted for years. What I've been saying is that the Drifter plotline cannot move forward until the shooter is ready, right? And so I've said since the beginning, when we start seeing content in either Ugalis or the Drifters, we're when that starts to kick up, we're going to likely, that means that we're getting closer to the shooter, because the Drifters are closely tied to the other, which is intimately tied to Dust 514, right? So the other and the Drifters are kind of an up and close enemy when it comes to their actual machinations. Their ships are more of an extension, if that makes sense. So excellent. Okay, great. And Captain Benzie is really cool. I like him a lot. Yeah, we'll be working on that over the weekend. But I also want to figure out the best way that we can run the Drifter wormholes, because that's going to be the big one. The Drifter wormholes have 10 per site and take 30 minutes to reset, so we can just rotate. Oh man, I was thinking about getting a glass of wine before starting the stream with the Crimson Harvest thing. I seriously considered it. Yeah, Captain Benzine is awesome. Benzie, sorry. But I think that, yeah, all of this is going, like, they've been setting up a lot of these dominoes. And, I think that the Deathless has put a level of chaos. So there's been a shadow war, for lack of a better word, going on behind the scenes for over a decade. When the assassin character in Sine Wave Alpha and Omega, which I did a reading of, which you can find on my YouTube, when he communicates, one of the things he says is, "You didn't think that the War of a Million Lives was over, did you?" That's his message. The War of a Million Lives is connected to the SOCT and their assumption of power during the Second Jovian Empire, and the Shadow Wars involved in that. And we get more. The only other place we get that information from is the Chronicle Inheritance, which is probably the single most important chronicle that has ever been released. God, I keep losing my train of thought today.
Shadow War.
Yeah, so the thing is that there has been this secret war going on between the SOCT, the Sisters of Eve, Concord, all these different people working on, because there's tech out there that's understood that there are lots of people trying to develop, but also keep a secret. And we as Capsuleers are kind of the most protected, because we only really get the news that's fed to us. So, we're more or less in the dark of a lot of the stuff that's been going on. But the Deathless is the wrench in all of that, right? He's the guy ripping it open and just saying, "See, look, whatever." So I think that this is going to function. This is the catalyst moment that we have been waiting for like 3 years. I mean, you're not too late, but we've talked about a lot of stuff already. If I recall, the Trig are against clones and things that insult true self. No, that's not true. So the Trig are against hive minds. They actually don't mind us. They see us as augmented foreign Narodnia. And that's why they test us, and those of us who work with them are allowed in. It is the hive linking and the being part of the Second Jovian Empire are the kill on sight orders that we know of. So catalysts are in for what?
I think I was play on word.
Yeah. Oh, fair enough. Oh, right. Yeah, I see. Yeah, it's really been interesting how tight-lipped CCP has been about all of this stuff. But at the same time, like, a lot of the clues have been there. You can go back and watch a lot of my videos where I touch on a lot of these things. But part of the problem was that for at least a couple of years, it seems that CCP did not know exactly how long they were going to have to wait before they were ready for the next phase. Think about it. I like to make the joke that Dust was like the new Dust was delayed for 2 years every 2 years, right? And we go over that my Dust 514, what happened to Dust 514 video. You know, I go through the whole timeline, and really, like, legitimately, every 2 years they kind of expect, especially after 2016. You see, like, in 2016 they expected it, so you see some lore stuff. In 2018 they start to expect it, so you see some more lore burst right there. That, in fact, 2018 is a critical time where we get a lot of the plots that are now paying off. And then, of course, you know, that got Nova axed. So then they knew that they're making a new game. They had more time to build this universe of places for people to go to. So we see a lot of world building with new characters, new locations, and that kind of stuff. And we start seeing, like, what is effectively concept art for different locations. And they use it in things like scope videos, allowing us to see the ground and all that stuff. And they're early things. They can start making scope videos as they progress, right? Easy peasy. So, but the problem is that they're not sure when it's going to be ready. And more importantly, they've learned a valuable lesson about not predicting when it's going to be ready. So for like 3 to 4 years, the story basically was the Triglavian invasion and pouring gunpowder onto a pile with and there's like 50 matches hanging in the air, and you don't know which one of the matches is going to fall, and you don't know when it's going to be, but the explosion is only getting bigger, you know? And at this point, that explosion is going to also knock out all of the other matches. You know what I mean? And so, like, what we're seeing is the first, like, the match has now lit and is falling, or like they lit the matches and they've been burning down, and the first ember is now falling, and we're watching it fall. And on the 14th, boop, it hits the gunpowder. There you go. How's that? How's that for hype? Am I wrong to assume that the new Capsuleer augmentation chips are for the FPS module clones? New Capsuleer augmentation chips. Are there new augmentation chips? Great co-host. Thanks, Sheesh. Yeah, Malik, thanks for keeping me online today.
I barely did anything.
Well, it's important. Do you have any thoughts?
You can show them the Gnosis fit I came up with. I mean, it's not tested yet.
Hold on. Basic Capsuleer engineering augmentation chip? Is this what you're talking about? The one that says that it's available only on Serenity? I think that's what it's for. Ba-dum-bum. Where is it? Is it here?
It's in Fleet.
Where's my fleet? Why did my fleet chat go up there? Bad fleet chat. Dumb fleet chat. Go down here. Oh, whatever. So, yeah, this is actually well, I mean, I was about to say it's passive, but it does have an active repper. Actually, it's very active. Never mind. But, so the Gnosis, one of the big concerns that we have is tank, and the other concern is newts, right? So, do you think that this is going to be able to solo a site, or is this just to be able to hang?
It should be able to solo. I'm just not sure about application of the guns.
Let me see.
But obviously, people can put whatever guns they want to put on.
And if you're going with someone else and they're doing the hacking, you could easily swap out that data analyzer for another thing and hang even better.
Yep.
And the core probe launcher one is taking up some fitting, but not a lot. Are semiconductors better for this one?
Yes.
What about versus shields?
The shield solidifier didn't really do a whole lot for cap.
Let's find out. We have, what is it? 19 or 10.9 gigajoules versus not stable. Neat. All right, well, there goes that. What about damage control instead of reactor control unit? I think that's
those
the help with stability.
Yeah,
these are power diagnostic systems. I mean, theoretically speaking, you could go with the damage control, but these are helping the tank, actually. Well, not really. I will say that the passive tank that I have with this thing is 69, which is really nice. Oh, that's shield boost rate. Of course, that doesn't change anything. Because it's not passive. I don't know why I keep trying to evaluate it like it's passive.
I mean, this is built to be alpha friendly.
Yeah.
So that there's some fitting wiggle room. Obviously, you can upgrade stuff.
Yeah, you could just drop the power diagnostic and swap into the power control or the damage control too, if you wanted to. That obviously, so you lose 6 gigajoules of resistance, which with the battery is more like what, 10 gigajoules of resistance. I'd have to check in the sites how much gigajoules of newt pressure they actually give you.
But for sure, you should be able to hang with a buddy.
Right. Yeah. And with a lot of things, I say, like, with an alpha especially, like, buddy up with someone. Don't be shy. Running cataclysmic filaments. Are you doing it in your Cerberus? C3 does 44 gigajoules of newting at its worst. So, and then then
this will not survive in a C3 for sure. It's the C1, C2 sites.
Right. And honestly, with those, the most dangerous thing is going to be the player that decloaks.
Yeah.
Oh, CCP Ghost is very much into friends. All right. And it has a tracking enhancer and a gyro stab. I would like to see whether or not my application on my Legion is going to be sufficient. But we'll have to wait till later, probably. Unless you find something. Do you find something?
Oh, no. I docked up.
Oh, okay.
Just chilling.
Cool. Wow, I felt like that I had a lot, like, Jesus. I thought we've been going, like, it felt like it's been a lot longer. My entire sense of everything is just scattered today, apparently. One of those mornings. I made it to the end of the week. That's the important part. And so did all of you. Aren't capacitor control better than semiconductor memory? You have to check. The thing is that once you start doing things like having a giant battery and power control and stuff like that, it can be that semiconductors begin becoming better than capacitor control circuits. You just got to check them. Up to C3s will be overrun now. First did a C5 in his Gnosis and they seem quiet. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is that, like, this is a great opportunity to bang about with your bros. We had, like, 6 Drex, and we felt pretty awesome. So, yeah, if you want to participate, you can come and be part of the invited. What can go wrong with unlocking Zarzakh?
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, why would you think that? Well, I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You ready? 2 words. No, 4 words. 4 words? Zarzakh infected by 5 words. Zarzakh infected by the other. That's the 5. That's the worst case scenario. You upload this video later? No, my live videos are always available. That does remind me. Yeah, do you want to answer the title? If anybody's interested in helping out with editing videos or helping get some stuff going either for the show or for the convocation or for the invited, we do offer various different compensations for all those kinds of things. So hit me up if you're interested. I do really want to get, one of my high priorities is to set it up finally so that way I can release these things as podcasts, because that's one of my most requested things by my patrons. It might be a patron only, or it might be like a patron member thing, but, well, it might be a patron thing because members can just watch it on YouTube. I don't know, whatever. We'll figure it out. Any thoughts on how the skinning tool will work with modular ships like the Proteus? The same kind of way that they work now. So, like, they, it's usually like projected textures. It would be up to you to kind of make sure that it looks good on everything, I think. Maybe we'll find out how hard it is to make a good skin for a T3. Hey, what's up? Ouch! And yeah, I mean, I got started with the podcast, and people, like, my earliest people that followed my stuff, like, listened to me while driving to work or whatever. So I've always felt really bad that I didn't keep that up. So that's something I want to get done, but, like, I still need to set up all of the stuff for it. Venom Fang, is that one of you guys? Oh, never mind.
I got it.
Okay, never mind. I assume Skinner just displays your ship in whatever config you can while you make it. Hell, they might even say that it can't be used on T3 cruisers for now. I've been running those friggin' sleeper sites, and I've gotten nothing. I'm pretty sure that I'm running the wrong ones. Are you running the ones in Wormhole space? And are you running the ones that either have forgotten or what is the other one? Abandoned? Malak, help.
What?
It's forgotten and abandoned? Unsecured.
Yeah.
Unsecured and forgotten, right? Yeah, unsecured and forgotten. That's what it is. Do you know if we'll get the Deathless ships on November 14th, or are they coming later? The Deathless ships are not coming out on the 14th. There has been the barest of hints that the Deathless is working on his own ship line, but the 14th is going to be, or rather, Havoc is going to be the battle cruisers, the Angel Titan, and maybe more. But that's all we know about so far. Which one? I wonder which faction has the most viewers. Well, members, you mean, right? Because, like, only members can use those things. which you can become for only $1. I try to make that as reasonable as possible. The Merkable and Mamba are available right now. Yeah, actually, hold on. That's the best thumbnail you've ever made. I feel like I've upped my thumbnail game yet again this week. That's true. How do you spell Merkabal?
Mekubal.
There's no R. There's no... Guys. We have collectively made a mistake. I've been informed that this is not just me. But... Spoiler alert. There is no R in Mekubal. So... Stop saying it wrong, me. Alright, Mekubal. Oh man, it's gotten quite a bit of stuff just today. So it's gotten 15 kills and 1 loss so far. But it's worth noting. So like, let's look at this. So the earliest kill is by somebody in a wormhole killing another person within his same corporation alliance. So we're just going to suggest that that doesn't count. The second one was this rookie ship in Amamake. Not sure that, so pretty sure that doesn't necessarily matter that much. And then we have basically, it looks like there's a couple of people in Abazon attempting to kill as much as they possibly can to get kill mails. And that's what's happened this morning. Mekubal, yeah. Yes, the real Tristan. And then finally, in Nullsec, a Brave Collective lost a Mekubal to another Brave Collective member. I'm not sure if we've seen legitimate losses or you know, there's not been like an actual put to the use combat scenario of the Mekubal yet. Let's look at the Mamba. Did I spell that wrong? How do you spell the Mamba?
Might not have any yet. Does it look like he spelled it right?
Okay.
M-A-M-B-A?
Yeah. Wait, what?
M-A-M-B-A?
M-A-N? No.
No, M. M.
Oh.
Mike.
Okay, I was spelling it wrong. I was spelling M-O-M. Mamba. Oh, the Mamba's gotten its first kill. Once again, it was by that same pirate corp. This time he got somebody else to die. And this makes sense, right? Because Wormhole Corps are likely to be the first ones to be able to get the pieces to be able to turn them in, right? They just literally run the data sites that they've been in relic sites that they've been ignoring for however long they've been there, and then get a coalesced element in one of several ways. And Bob's your uncle. You get a BPC. So congrats to them. We're still waiting on our first legitimate fight. Mamba. That is some Berenstein Bears shit right there. It's spelled Mamba? Macabre? Macabre? Yeah, well... It's, you know, it's weird because I always assumed that Americans didn't say macabre with an R because it was a borrowed word. Right? I thought, because like, whenever there's a weird pronunciation of a word in English, you can be like, oh, that's probably French. right? Like, probably a French derivative word or something when it has like extra letters that you don't pronounce. So yeah, I just assumed that it was a borrowed word. Where do people pronounce? Yes, I know that I know that it's the snake species of mamba, but learning that mamba is spelled with an A is breaking my dyslexic brain. It's French, actually. Okay, well, there you go. Titan. Is that... Okay, no, you're right. Is that... Hold on. Is that real? Hold on, is it Mambo as well? Is that how to spell Mambo number 5? Hold on. Are you guys trolling me at this point?
No, that's...
You know, okay. Look.
I mean, as someone who isn't dyslexic, I've always just knew the spelling to be M-A-M.
That's
it's
weird.
Just never really thought about it.
Well, I've never really thought about it either. But like my brain is always just kind of grazed over that word. I've never had to write it down. I've never written an article or anything on classical dance or classic dance or Cuban dance, I should say, or, you know, snakes. I might have written something about a bearded dragon, but no. It'd be pronounced if ma'am. It's Mamba, right? Bamba. But Bamba sounds like it's with an A. It does the right thing. Oh my god. Yeah, you all owe me a like now. You broke my mind. This is the Old Man Stargate. Nobody ever got back to me on who pronounces the R in macabre. We got stuck on the Mamba thing. No, I normally pronounce it macabre, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, like Americans don't pronounce the R." Who was that? The French. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna have to have my buddies over at the Beaver Show straighten me out on this whole like macabre thing. Yeah, I always heard macabre, and then you see it in writing, and you're like, "Oh, that's a really weird word." Everyone pronounces the R in macabre? No, they don't. Only people that have only ever read it do. They do? Okay, whatever. Then why don't we? Wait, why do we have the fucked up pronunciation then?
Because we think it's French and try to say it French-like.
Are we just so dumb that we're
And
like, oh yeah, the French must not pronounce the R, and so don't, and like what? Hold, I got it. Hold, this is a different rabbit hole. Hold on. I gotta look this up now. All right. Well, it has both pronunciations in the dictionary. Shake, 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 Sonora. Hold on. Macabre. Yeah, I mean, this is just a different kind of... Wait, hold on. Right here. The original word in Old French had no R. So maybe Worcester sauce? Worcester sauce is not that bad. Everybody likes to talk crap about it, but you know, some of us have already learned how to say it. No, that is how to pronounce it. Worcester sauce. Not Worcestershire sauce. Worcester. You basically just ignore the spelling. Worcestershire. No. All right. You know what? Hold on. At some point, you guys are just transitioning to just messing with me. I know it. Hold on. Wait, I shouldn't look this up on YouTube. I should look this up on, like, Wikipedia at least.
Worcestershire sauce.
Worcester sauce! Boom!
Worcestershire sauce.
There you go. Well, yeah, it's Worcester sauce. That's how it can... No, that's how... That's the American pronunciation. Now let's look at British pronunciation.
Worcestershire sauce.
That did not help my argument. All right, hold on. Let's do the same thing for macabre. If you are watching this recording and you're like, man, I can't wait for Ash to get back to topic, you might as well. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you next week. This is not... I don't think this is being recovered from. So, how do you pronounce macabre?
Macabre.
Ah! How does the British pronounce it?
Macabre.
Why? What? Why don't we pronounce it that way? Is the R in the macabre silent? The correct pronunciation is macabre, says Quora. I'm not going to use that as my evidence. Can you say rabbit hole? Yes. Do it in French. No, that's the only two options: British pronunciation and American pronunciation. I don't get a different version. Hold on. This is what YouTube says. British version.
Bonjour. We are looking at how to pronounce this word of French origin. We're going to be looking at how to pronounce it in French, its original pronunciation for reference, as well as how it is pronounced in British English and in American English. In French, in France, this word is pronounced as macabre. Macabre. The British English pronunciation is similar to the French one in the way that they say macabre. Macabre, with an emphasis on the second syllable. The American pronunciation, however, is as macabre. Macabre. They do forget about the RE completely at the end in American English. Macabre. In American English, macabre. In British English, or macabre in French. Here are more videos on how to pronounce many French words.
No, that didn't explain anything. Oh my God. Why don't Americans pronounce the R in macabre? English language stack exchange. Good. This is good. This is good. They're equally accurate Anglicanized versions of the French word. So they're saying, like, because there's not like a direct linguist, like the sound that's actually done doesn't translate directly in Anglican, like some of them just dropped it. But that doesn't explain why
I think
Americans,
Johnny Appleseed might be onto it.
a lot of UK elites learn French. But my point is, why did we pronounce it that different way? Why was
the commoners kind of dropped the R.
it's just so bizarre for me. It flies in the face of everything I've ever thought of when it comes to like why we pronounce words the way that we do. Yeah, because it's not like macabre. It's actually like, I don't speak French, but like there's technically a different sound there. Just like most things, the American take things from the rest of the world and we bastardize it. I understand that, but usually we bastardize things by slamming them into phonics, right? We're going to pronounce it phonetically regardless of whatever because we're dumb. But this is not that. This is like, we're going to pronounce it in a way that seems like it's the French pronunciation, but yet it's not. It's so weird. All right, well, I've definitely lost any hope of reining things in. So before the weekend is up, or before we go into the weekend, if we have anything else to talk about, now's the time to bring it up. I actually had to go, like, I spent my 8th grade in a special school for dyslexics or linguistics, whatever one you want to call it, depending on if I'm being kind or not. I'm English 47 and well educated. I've never heard anyone use the "r." I am so lost. I didn't realize how big of a get your wine glass out. You know what? Maybe. Because it's easier to pronounce. Yeah, I was actually just thinking, like, when we have a RE, often that would be like the R modifies the vowel before it. And so, and E is often silent. So like ARE, R, or HARE, hair. We're used to seeing an E at the end and making it silent. Yeah, but that's not the same. It's not calibre. Caliber. But if it was calibre, then we would just call it calib. But again, so those are saber. Actually, saber is a good example because it's one of those things that a lot of people spell wrong, right? This is one of the things I know because of EVE Online. There's a lot of people that actually pronounce saber wrong until they're directly corrected. And they even made a joke about this on The Office because it's Saber Corporation, but they misread it because they took it out of context and they just called it Sabre until they were corrected. If you try to tell me that saber is not how to pronounce saber to a Cav Scout, you are no. Them fighting. All right. I guess I want to close. What we can do, I want to do a little bit of a guide here since I've got you guys here. We've got some time. I've been meaning to show you guys a few things. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm looking at my whiteboard. Nope, saber has 2 different spellings. Well, yes. The U.S. doesn't pronounce it that way because it was the U.S. did the big F you to Europe and did things our own way, like the metric system. Yeah, but again, you would think that we would pronounce it. I don't know. Because, like, so for me, I think I originally called it macabre. But then when I first heard it pronounced as macabre, I was like, oh, that's clearly how you're supposed to pronounce it. Why would anybody pronounce it differently than you would expect it to, unless that's actually how you're supposed to pronounce it? So I thought that was the fancy way. So I pronounced it that way because I like to appear fancy. No, I'm just kidding. Language is a mess, and so am I. So let us attempt to salvage the last 30 minutes of this stream, because I want to talk a little bit about ships. There's a lot of new players coming in. There's a lot of people returning back, and there's a lot of things that are going on that require fast stuff, including Zarzakh and faction warfare. So I don't want to go too deep into fittings specifically for different ships. If you want me to go deeper into a different ship specifically, then let me know and we can dive into deeper into it. But I just kind of wanted to go over the different frigates and give you kind of my impression, like what I have to say about it, my little like 10-second spiel or whatever. Ready? We're going to start with Amarr T1 frigates with the Magnate. The Magnate is the Amarr exploration frigate. All of the exploration frigates have roughly the same bonuses. It makes them good at exploration and technically salvaging. They are not as good of a bonus as some of the other options that you get, but it is pretty decent, at least to get you started. But the Magnate particularly has the most amount of low slots for of the different exploration frigates, which make it the best for cargo space. The Tormentor. The Tormentor, hey! Welcome to the membership, sheesh. The Tormentor is a hybrid between lasers and drones. It is the kind of the closest thing to a drone platform that you get for the Amarr on the frigate level. It's a bit of a sleeper because of that. It does have the bonuses primarily towards its turrets, but it does have a 10 megabyte bandwidth, so it can field 2 light drones. It's a bit of an oddball. The Punisher. The Punisher is a very, very tough nut to crack. It's one of the tankiest frigates in the entire game because of this increased armor resistances per level. Nice. However, it also, the only other bonus it has is to energy turret activation costs. And we're going to see this in a lot of Amarr ships. When you see that, that means that chances are a lot of people are going to fit a lot of other weapon systems to it, especially projectiles. So you'll see a lot of Punishers with projectiles on it because the activation cost of projectiles is 0. But otherwise, it is one of the toughest nuts to crack as far as T1 frigates armor goes. The Crucifier is the E-War frigate T1. It is effective at weapon disruption. You'll see these flying around, especially in larger PvP fights. If we're doing a big PvP fight and you can't fly the battleship or whatever that's chosen, you'll probably be thrown into one of these things and told to target paint the enemy, depending on what's going on. Or not target paint, but weapon disrupt the enemy. Weapon disruption is one of my favorite E-War because it lies to your opponent. It doesn't help them. It doesn't help. It's very difficult to understand how much you're being impacted by target tracking disruption. So people stay committed when they shouldn't. The Executioner. Very, very fast. It's the attack frigate of them. It's pretty good if you want to. This is an entry point for kiting, although you will find very, very quickly the main lesson that you learn from an Executioner is that you want to fly a slicer. The Inquisitor is the Logi for the Amarr frigates. I think, if I remember correctly, the Amarr one has more raw armor hit points, while the Gallente one has better signature. Somebody can correct me if it's the other way around. And then, yes, you can approximately see, but my point is that in the moment, a lot of people don't calculate that correctly, as opposed to, when you're jammed, you lose locks. When you're webbed, you slow down, and that's a very noticeable thing. when you're target painted, well, you know you're going to be taking more damage. If you're damped, then you either lose locks or you can't lock. You get what I'm saying? Like, the target painting, or the tracking disruption specifically, or weapon disruption, is the one where it's like you feel like you can still break through it, even though you've been basically completely hamstrung. Anywho, let's keep going. For the Navy frigates, we have the Imperial Navy Slicer. This is one of the fastest frigates running around. This is the kitey, slicey ship. It is, you know, A or S tier for sure. Like, a lot of pirates, I know, what's his name? Oh, God. Can't remember. I just brain farted his name, but he was with the Federation Frontlines. But, like, a lot of top PvPers cut their teeth on the Slicer. The Crucifier Navy issue is kind of interesting. It can be, though, Battle Wraith. That's the thing. The Crucifier Navy issue, so the Navy issue frigates for the E-War often makes them come in closer. So as you can see here, the optimal, like the weapon disruptor optimal range and fall off has been dropped. But it has an increased effectiveness, right? So this thing is designed to get really close and disrupt them. Thanks, Sheesh. And then... so with really strong weapon disruption, not be hit, and pick them apart with drones. And then, of course, the Magnate Navy issue is the most recent one. The Magnate Navy issue is a very competent, strong combat exploration frigate that uses lasers. I don't really know where that, like, scales up as far as, like, combating other ships. I know it's one of the stronger of these kinds of things. You're nuts, man. All right. Next, interceptors. The interceptors are kind of the same, but for the MR, well, one interceptor is obviously warp core stabilized, the other one is not. But also in the terms of MR, one is missiles, one is not. So this turret one is the one without the interdiction nullification bonus. The one with missiles is the one with interdiction nullification bonus. Covert Ops, you have the Anathema, which is one of my favorite Covert Ops, but, I mean, like, it's hard to argue why it's the best one of them. Troublemaker. Nothing but trouble. It probably still has the most low slots, and therefore, I don't know, I like the Magnate, or the Anathema. It gives me what I need. And then the Purifier, all of the stealth bombers are good for their various race at doing their race's damage. So if you need to do EM damage and you're in a stealth bomber, go for a Purifier. And, of course, the logistics frigate, the Deacon, is actually really popular, especially amongst, like, Wolf fleet. Basically, if you are going to use Logi frigates, I often see Deacons used. All right, Caldari. Back to the bottom. We have the Bantam. The Bantam is the logistics of the frigates. You see them sometimes, but honestly, T1 logistics frigates, it's hard to get them to impact the fight enough, unless you're really, really good. Condor. Condors are extraordinarily fast and use missiles. If you're going to learn how to kite and you don't want to learn it in a Slicer, you're probably going to learn it in a Condor. The Condor also moves directly up to racist damage. You're going to move up from the Condor to things like the Garmer and all that sort of stuff. So if you like the idea of snake implants that speed you up, then the Condor is probably your entry point as far as ships go. The Griffins are disgusting, as all ECM are. They basically sit at a very far range and mess around with the fight. The key is that your job is to disrupt the enemy efforts. There's a whole bunch about jamming that's a topic in and of itself. The Kestrel is also a pretty decent kiter, but definitely much more kind of on the brawly side, as it is the combat instead of the attack frigate. Going to faction warfare with Griffins. That's true, but we'll talk about the really good one in just a second. So the Kestrel, like if you want to have rocket like missiles, but not necessarily be as speedy as the Condor, then the Kestrel is a really good place. The Kestrel really works for learning the Dark Abyss, if you want to. The Merlin. The Merlin is a classic favorite. It is the hybrid combat turret frigate for the Caldari. And the Heron is probably the most popular of the T1 exploration ships, mostly because it has the most mid slots, which allows it to have things like the scanning mid slots that a lot of like newer players rely on to be able to get the high enough scan strength, etc. So you know, you don't have to compromise with your mid slots for the Heron. Next, Heron Navy issue. This is actually a really popular, at least it was when they first came out, of the Navy issues. It just devastates with rockets. It's pretty fun. The Caldari Navy hookbill is the bane of the Gallente flyers. So the most popular hookbill fit usually goes with double webs. So the idea of a hookbill often is that they want to sit at scram kiting range and hit you where it's too far for you to hit them well, but they can hit you just fine. Largely because they have this bonus to rocket max velocity, so that way their missiles shoot further. For their interceptors, we have the Crow and the Raptor. I don't really have much to say about interceptors altogether because, like, they're all kind of the same, and that's a whole topic in and of itself. Just know that one of them goes with more. Well, the missile one does have interdiction nullification, where the hybrid only one does not. For the assault frigates, we have the Hawk and the Harpy, with the Harpy being the turret one and the Hawk being the good one. I'm joking. But the Hawk is extraordinarily popular in PvP scenarios and in the Abyss. The Triple Hawk is one of the most popular setups for frigate Abyss, because Darks help frigates survive, but Darks also kill turrets, so you need a frigate that uses missiles and does the most amount of damage, and as it turns out, that is the Hawk. The Harpy is a little bit more like you have to fly it because you like it. It's got a really good skin, though. You should come and watch. Covert Ops Buzzard, also one of the most popular of the Covert Ops ships, for roughly the same reason. Smart bomb or stealth bomber, Manticore, one of the better. Like, Manticore looks sick as hell and does the Caldari kinetic. We missed one. Sorry. The Griffin Navy issue. The Griffin Navy issue is kind of wild, because the problem is that so they made it so that when they made it so that you can lock back the person jamming you, it really hurt things like the Griffin, because you can't really solo with a Griffin because you jam them and now they can just lock you still, right? And this was even worse for the Griffin Navy issue, because as with all of the other E-War, it wants to bring them tight with it. So we have extra jam strength, but we have to be up close with them. Well, but then we jam them and they can just target us and attack us, so that doesn't work. So what do? You actually have bonuses to your ECM drone jam duration. So what you do is you actually pull out, and it's got negative damage to drone damage and drone hit points and control range. So what you do is you look here, they actually have a 35 megabyte drone capacity. That is 2 mediums and 3 lights. Yeah, that's 2 mediums and 3 lights for 5 drones. That's really strong when it comes to being able to jam, especially other frigates. And then, but of course, they're not going to do much damage. So what is going to do the damage? Well, your hybrid turrets. The Griffin Navy issue hits really hard. So the point is that you get, especially you get a swarm of these things. Here's the thing. Your drones aren't you. So you get a swarm of these bad boys and you stick somebody's drones on them, or your drones on them. One of them will succeed in the jam. And then they can't target any of the Griffins. It's really disgusting. What about the Tristan, though? We're getting there. Yeah, the Tristan is basically a hard counter for the Griffin Navy issue. That's true. Well, specifically the Algos too. But all right, Kitsune. The Kitsune gets used, but the thing about a lot of these E-War frigates is, and this is true about the Sentinel too. I think I actually skipped it. Is that a lot of times by the time you're getting up to the T2 version, like E-War frigates don't, or E-War doesn't last long enough. And so you'll either stick with T1 or you'll probably go up to like a cruiser so that way you can get even more range, right? So you'll go for like a Blackbird or a Falcon or a Rook. But yeah, the Kitsune is the long distance. If you want to jam somebody from a very long distance and you can bring a T2 frigate, that's a good choice. And then of course the Kirin. The Kirin is actually used. So I think the Kirin is the other one that gets used a lot in fleets. Especially like Wolfplack fleets, I think, right? Or was it Scalpels? I think Scalpels and Kirins both get used quite a bit when they get used. Gallente. We have the Navitas. Navitas is an amazing logistics frigate. Real fun. But again, like, logistics frigates have a difficult time like making sure that they save ships under fire, and it's more like slowing down their death, especially when it comes to like frigates and stuff, but it can still be very rewarding to fly around with them. The Tristan is a beast. It's probably one of 2 S tier ships as I would consider it, because it has power and flexibility. It comes with a 5 drone layout along with the 2 highs and a utility high. So it can have blasters, it can have rails, it can have newts, and it has a utility high, so it can have newts and blasters if it wants to in order to maximize its damage. The Newt Tristan is extraordinarily powerful. I like to, of course, hull Newt Tristan them up. I've talked about that one before. But there's multiple ways to skin a Tristan, and they also have a lot of skins, coincidentally. Really good ship, but does basically essentially require drones 5 in order to get. Because I explain all kinds of things. We're just doing this for funsies, because it's the end of the day, end of the week. Knock this one out. All right, so the Incursus. The Incursus is a little bit of a... It's an interesting brawly one. The biggest advantage to the Incursus is, or its rep bonus, right? It has this 7.5 bonus to armor repair amount. Although, oddly enough, I keep finding people using the Incursus without local reps, so I don't know what to tell you. They are, like, the Incursus is the Punisher that we have at home when it comes to tankiness. I'll put it that. I don't know how else to put it. The Imicus is actually one of my favorite of the T1 frigates. It is of the, of the T1 exploration frigates. And of the T2 exploration frigates, because now not because of its appearance, it looks like crap. No, it looks like a science vessel. Let's put it that way. But it has it has a drone capacity of 40 megabytes on the Imicus. That's 4 drones. That's 4 E-War drones for those for you explorers. 4 extra chances for you to get away without them killing you. Really good for that. But you don't get that extra mid slot. The Atron. The Atron is the speedy boy. The Atron may not look tough, but in the right hands, the Atron is absolutely terrible. Like, just terrifying. SpoonS in particular is really good at this thing. If you want to fly like a slicer, but you don't want people to act like you're flying a slicer, get good at the Atron. Thank you, Sheesh. Mollis is kind of fun because the Mollis is kind of the E-War frigate that makes the most sense on its own. It brings its own field of 30 M3 drone capacity, which means it can field 5 or more. Oh, no, sorry. I'm talking about capacity, not bandwidth. I'm stupid. The Imicus has 20 drone bandwidth. That's right. Okay, so no, that's fine. That was fine. Did I say anything wrong earlier? No. Okay. So the Mollis gets the 20 drone bandwidth, which is 4 light drones, plus it has those dampeners. So the key with this thing is that if you want, like, this is the Gallente Kaidi ship, right? Because the idea behind this is that you can nice. The birth of the Capsuleer. Yes. So you want to sit at like 30 or so and keep the target damped out so that way they can't lock you. And meanwhile, your drones can pick them apart. And if you're with a friend, then that'll help out. The big thing is that when you're doing sensor dampening, you have to choose between lock time and lock range. And that's a very important decision, right? Like if you go with lock range and then your target or your friend is like up close and personal to him, he's just going to, act like he's not damped. Also, it's one of the reasons why I like to run damps unscripted most of the time. Next, Federation Navy Comet. This wants to be the Navy issue. Tristan's so gosh darn bad, but really it's like the Navy issue. Imicus. Not Imicus. Incursus. It combines hybrids and drones, but not quite as cleanly, in my opinion, as the Tristan does. For those who know how to fly it, it is basically a direct step up from either the Atron or the Incursus. But I find it a little bit more challenging, at least for me, than even like a whole new Tristan, especially for its difference in cost. But it is one, a lot of these frigates you'll see for the Navy are designed to be fast and punchy, which is true, and why the Rail Comet is also particularly good when it shows up. But the Blaster Comet is extremely good, but gets basically hard countered by the Hookbill. The Nimicus Navy issue. The Nimicus, I love it. This is the Tristan Navy issue. You'll see this about the Mollis Navy issue too. But the Imicus Navy issue is going to be more explorer based. Obviously, you can still do your exploration. If you want to be able to do exploration and fight, but don't want to spend money on an Atron, or on Astero, this is a really good one. It has the 50 drone capacity with 20 bandwidth, so you can throw out there. You have 2.5 flights of 4 drones each, so that allows you to like have some like a spare drone set and also a couple of utility drones to slip in there. Whereas the Mollis Navy issue also wants to fight with a bunch of drones. It actually is the 25, so this is where it got the nickname of the Tristan Navy issue. But it actually has less damage output than the normal Tristan does. However, it does have this really strong Warp Scrambler range bonus. So a Mollis Navy issue in an Edencom system in Gallente space can catch people in a way that you cannot get away from, regardless of whether or not you have a bonus ship or a stabbed ship. It does not matter. For the interceptors, same as before. Interceptors are interceptors. Assault frigates, the Ishkur and the Enyo, both of which, just like with the rest of the Gallente ships, these blaster ships do an absurd amount of damage than what you would expect. The Ishkur kind of relies on drones a little bit more, and so ends up actually kind of being a lot more niche, where the Enyo is just known for just pounding people into the Enyo is the Tech 2 Daredevil. Yeah, Mollis with targeting range scripts is great for Stuka fleets. That's true. Anything where you want to like kite them out. Helios, I like the Helios because it's, I think, the only Tech 2 exploration frigate that has any drone bandwidth at all with its one drone. The Nemesis also looks sick as hell and does the Gallente thermal damage. The carries, I have actually seen carries get used a lot, only because the damp concept works so good when it comes to soloing, right? Like the carries, you only get 2 drones, but your ability to basically, this actually does pull off a I'm a Mollis but better, a lot better than a lot of the other attack frigates or electronic attack frigates do at the moment. I would say people can disagree if they want. And then of course the Thalia, all of the different ones are really good. Oh, this one, yeah. So this one has the reduction in signature radius. So the Thalia is going to take less damage, where the Amar one is going to have more hit points. Same as the Kaldari one is going to have more hit points, and the Mimitar one is going to be a smaller signature radius. But we're not there yet. Well, actually, no. That leads us into the next set. Mimitar. The Slasher. Slasher is super fast. Mimitar ships are super fast. The Slasher is super fast. The Slasher, or the attack frigates are super fast. The Slasher is super duper fast. It is the fastest ship you're going to get on a budget, period. The Probe, yeah, people like to do exploration in it. I don't know what else to say about the Probe when it comes to exploration. I mean, it does have like some interesting flexibility when it comes to it as a platform, but in a lot of ways, it kind of runs into the exploration frigates or exploration frigates. It does have a drone bandwidth of 3 drones. Where was Enyo Ishkar? I said Enyo Ishkar. I said that the Enyo is I liken the Enyo to the Tech 2 Daredevil. That's what I said. The Rifter, one of the most iconic ships in the entire game. It actually has a range bonus. So a fall-off bonus, which projectiles often are known for having extremely far fall-offs. So the Rifter is an interesting step if you want to get into like angel ships that also have a good fall-off bonus. But if you want to do snipey things or just project further, then the Rifter's pretty good for that. It's not the absolute king that it once was, but the people that fly Rifters like the Rifter. However, the Breacher, on the other hand, is the silent killer, in my opinion. So hold on, actually. This is, in my opinion, one of the least talked about S-tier frigates in the game. Hold on. Let me pull up my fit. So the Breacher fit breaks all of the rules because it's a dual tank, right? So, but you need to put in your cap boosters and your nanite repair paste. The key to this is that you're actually going to be running both of these at the same time, because they're going to get you through your shields and start to carve out of your armor. But as soon as that happens, now you're regenerating both armor and shields. So you're getting these big reps, okay? On top of that, you have them webbed and scrammed. A lot of frigates have to give up one for the other, right? Especially if you're going to have this much tank. So you've got good damage. You've got the ability to control them really, really well with your afterburner and good tank. And then for damage, we have Nova Rage rockets doing almost 200 DPS. I'm telling you guys, if you're in a novice, or if you're in a, what are they called now? Scout complex, and you see a Breacher on the outside, do not think that this is going to go well. They are incredibly strong ships, and no one ever, like, the Tristan gets a lot of attention. The Breacher, unsung hero. They also pair up really well, by the way. The Breacher and the Tristan. The Burst is the Logi frigate for the Mimitar and isn't very popular, I think, because it's ugly. And the Vigil is the target painter. So again, this is the kind of thing that, like, if there's a big fleet going on and you're a new bro, so you can't fly the Doctrine, chances are you'll be asked, what do you fly? And if you say Mimitar, you'll be thrown into a Vigil. The Vigil fleet issue, on the other hand, is a different beast. So, as you can see here, the Vigil itself is only target painter bonuses. Each race has, well, besides the Caldari, have multiple E-War types. And when it comes to the T1 ships that do E-War, most of the time they do only one of them at T1, and then they do both of them at T2, right? And it's usually the weaker one. So in the case of the Mimitar, you often have to go to T2 in order to get webbing bonuses. And most of the T1 is target painter, like with the Vigil and with the Bellicose. Okay? Whereas the T2 has target painters and webs, but that's the really good stuff, right? That's the web bonuses are really, really strong. So that brings us to the Vigil fleet issue. We have rockets and web of fire range bonus. So what's interesting about this is that, like, rockets... Actually, let me see. If I just throw a rocket launcher 2 on here and then get a missile and throw a javelin in there, what's my range? So at a javelin, I have 15-kilometer range. What about rage? Okay. Yeah, well, that could work, I guess. I would probably go... I would either go with Caldari Navy, or if I'm going to go Rage, I would have, like, I would put rigs or low slots into projection, or mids into projection, because if you can get to, like, 10, 12 kilometers, the secret here is that their web is, goes further than normal, right? So you can web something out that can't web you. But the rockets want to be very close, so you need to project far enough away. So it's a little bit wonky, but this school's, goes straight into, I think, the Blood Raider frigates, right? Yeah, the Kruger with its bonus to web of fire range as well. The Firetail, less popular than it has been in the past, mostly because the Slicer gets so much, like, love or attention, but the Firetail is absolutely a beast on its own. The other, it doesn't have a projection, but it is damage. So, yeah. And then the probe fleet issue. I can't remember what the breakdown is between the probe fleet issue and the Heron, Heron fleet issue. I can't remember exactly what the difference is, but all of those are very powerful combat ships. Not powerful as combat ships, but powerful for exploration frigates in combat, I should say. Interceptors are interceptors. The only difference is that Mimitar interceptors have the best animations, because the wings fold forward. They fold in and then they flip. They fold forward, which is really cool. Yeah, the probe fleet issue is one of the ships of all time. The Jag, like you might hear about ram Jags, because they're assault frigates. They are very tanky, and because they have good rocket damage, explosive damage, rate of fire, all that stuff, and shield booster amount, these guys want to get into your face and punch you hard. You'll see that with a lot of the assault frigates, but that one in particular, That one's so known for it that it has a term for it, the Ramjag. The Wolf is definitely popular. If you like assault frigates, and so if you like dancing around and soloing in assault frigates, I think the Wolf is pretty good. I've never actually played with it too much though myself, but it's got good projection. It's got really good damage. It's got good tracking. You can, you could fit it with artillery pretty well and kite out. Dual shield booster Jag, yeah. The Covert Ops, cheetahs. Again, people that like the cheetah like the cheetah. I don't know what to say. It is the Minmatar exploration frigate. They basically are just really good balance because the flexibility and speed of that Minmatar naturally make them good at exploration for those reasons. So it's like they're the fast, most agile ones. The Hound, probably one of the most lackluster looking of the different stealth bombers, but it does do some amazing explosion damage. And what do you want it to work with? It's based off of the Breacher. So, I mean, the Hyena. I do see Hyenas quite a bit because, again, so the T2 version gets this Webifier optimal range. So you can't bring a Vigil and do that job. And so if you're not going to bring a Rapier, then you'll bring a Hyena and attempt to stay far enough away that you can, I mean, like, that's a huge bonus for webifying range. So the goal here is like the fleet is fighting things that are like, I don't know, 20 to 40 off or whatever. And so they can't web it, but you can, you know? And then the Scalpel is their Logi frigate. It's the one with reduction in signature radius. So if you're going to be the only Logi frigate with the group, it's a good choice. You guys are funny. Yeah, get that like button. Apparently we're close to 100. That's good. I really appreciate it, guys. Now then, for pirates, we'll just go really quickly. The Worm is incredibly powerful. It's considered to be one of the strongest frigates of all time. It has a 300 bonus. So all Garissa ships have 2 drones, but a huge bonus to their drone damage and hit points. And then it also has this bonus to kinetic and thermal missile damage. So it will hit you hard, but its drones will hit you harder. And it has a resistance bonus, so they're hard to hit. And the drones have a hit points bonus, so it's hard to defang. The Worm is just disgusting. I would honestly say that the Worm is probably the single largest reason why pirate ships are not allowed in novice complex or in scout complexes anymore. Technically, the Panther's the strongest favorite, yeah. So the Sancha are really good at afterburners that act like micro warp drives. So if you want a SIG tanking frigate, this is a really good choice, right? So they go with shields, which kind of gets in the way of SIG tanking, but they're not going with a micro warp drive. So you can scram. You can be in like a scram kite situation with these guys. You've got lasers, so you can project pretty good. Keep them at range, kind of like the Hook build does. But the difference is that you have them scrammed, and even if they scram you, it doesn't matter. You're still going like you have a micro warp drive. Even if you're webbed, it's still like not that. You're still going pretty good. And with that bonus to tracking speed, you're hitting pretty good. This increase to damage is just because the other thing that goes on with them is that they have less turrets than normal. They only have 2 turrets, but they have that bonus that makes it worth 4. I think, right? Nope, 5. And that also allows them to have a utility high slot. Blood Raiders! They want to suck your blood. Blood Raiders get the advantage of using NOSes that do not care what the target's capacitor is. So if you want to NOS them out, but also newt them out at the same time, the Blood Raider ships are good for that. The crew are kind of like the ships below the Balgorn kind of struggle, but the crew is actually fast enough, and this 20% stasis web of fire range bonus. We've talked about this a few times now. So we have a stasis web of fire bonus, and the ability to use lasers. Yeah, lasers means that the crew often just ignores the neuting bonus altogether, or the nossing bonus altogether, or only just relies on it for just a normal nos, and treats it like a laser boat with extra long web firing range, which is pretty scary. The Angels. The Dramiel. It's the fastest thing alive. All right, so the Dramiel is stupid fast. It has increased tracking speed. It can shoot further. It is the upgrade of the Rifter. Like, seriously. It also has increased damage to make up for to give it less turrets, and it has an increased warp speed and acceleration, so it warps like an interceptor. And it has one of the cooler skins in the game, both like visually and lore-wise. The Sorrow Flame. The Serpentis' cheat is, while the Blood Raiders have extra long webs, the Serpentis have extra powerful webs. So the Daredevil have the Gallente I smash you really, really, really hard in the face. Like I said, earlier the Enyos, like the T2 Daredevil. Of all of the pirate frigates, this is the pirate frigate that you're going to be like, oh, I think I can take him. Ow, why am I already dead? Ow, 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 ow. Like, the Daredevil hits so goddamn hard. But, like, it's kind of fallen a little bit out of favor with everything else going on. But that these webs are so strong. If a Daredevil gets a hold of you, you're not going anywhere. And this also means that a Daredevil is actually incredibly good for something totally different. Hold on. Allow me to introduce you to the webbing Daredevil. This bad boy, this is the elitist version of it. This bad boy comes with, how do I do this? Oh yeah, save as. It comes with a compact afterburner and 2 Federation Navy stasis web of fires. And everything else is just about making it go fast. Damage control, nanofiber, hyperspace accelerator. So let's look at the stats of this thing. It warps at 8.24 AU. It travels at 16 cold, but its webs are both 90% strength at 14 kilometers. If I web you with this ship, I don't care how big you are, as long as your alignment is in the correct direction, as in you're not leaving a station or something, you will warp immediately. So when we say webbing people into warp, this is like the most elitist version of that, right? Ironically enough, yeah, she's just saying like it's cool for me to show what I use. I did have this once where I was warping in my freighter towards Uidama, and I jumped my Daredevil into Uidama, and I zeroed up on the gate as I normally do, because what I do is I jump in and I see where my freighter is, and I kind of make sure I'm in roughly that range before I hit warp with the freighter, so that way I can just web him instantly with overheated webs and be good to go, right? That's the plan. So I zero up on the gate so that way I can kind of be wherever I need to be depending on where I land. Long story short, apparently somebody scanned my ship and saw my fit and thought that it was good enough to go to take a pot shot at. So the catalyst, I think it was a catalyst, suicided trying to kill, like, I got the whoop 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 alarms, but it wasn't my freighter, it was the Daredevil, and I'm like, oh shit, and I just jumped out back into the system adjacent as my freighter's landing. And so it's just like, well, fuck that, and I warped the freighter to the gate, or to the station, web him off with my webbing guy, which is just right there, dock up, and I'm like, well, I'm going to tell this story for years, and here I am years later still telling it. Yeah, with abyssal webs you can get even worse than this, but yeah. Anywho, so yeah. Moving on. SOE. The Astero. The Astero, in my opinion, is better than the Stratios. It is one of the top dogs of the exploration game. It comes with a full complement of 5 drones. It is also one of the things that gets referred to as a faction Tristan. It's not that much stronger. It's not as strong as other pirate ships. But what it is it's strong for an exploration ship. So if you want an exploration frigate, if you want a Tristan that has exploration frigate capabilities, covert ops cloaking, scanning bonuses, data analyzer, and all that stuff, bonuses, then the Astero basically slots directly into you. It is 100 million-esque. But, like, especially, like, if you train covert ops cloaking, and yet you haven't trained covert ops ships yet, the Astero is your go-to because you don't have to train any of the frigates to 5 yet in order to get into it. However, things like the Metamorphosis is kind of taken that niche a little bit. The Stratios is best in slot for high-sec exploration. I still disagree, just because the Astero is so much more agile. Like, in most situations, the Stratios is mostly useful for ghost sites and, like, sleeper caches and stuff. But my point is that a lot of people get into the Astero and they think that, like, the Stratios is a direct upgrade to the Astero, and no, it does a totally different activity. The Stratios is more of a combat explorer, whereas if you want to just hack, you're not going to get the Stratios is just going to be a slower Astero to you. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, so here's Garmer. It has an increased. Oh, good. We can agree on that. Excellent. It has increased warp scrambler and disruptor range, as well as bonuses to missile damage and velocity. So this thing can shoot far and it can scram you far. So just like with those other ships that can web you and you can't web me, this thing can scram you and you can't scram it. So if this thing or warp disrupt you, this thing is going to warp disrupt you from 30 or more, and they're going to scram you from 15 or more, and you're just going to cry it's just, and you're going to learn to hate them, or you're going to learn to fly them, or you're going to learn to avoid them. One of the three. The Damavik is the worst Triglavian ship. Triglavian ships demand range, and the Damavik does not have a range bonus. So, the Damavik is basically a blaster boat. But the Nurgle, on the other hand, is one of the best assault frigates in the game. It has a range bonus of 7.25 per level. So I think, what is that, 25% total? So they can shoot further. It's not going to be able to shoot as far as the Kiki, but it's going to be enough to be able to get up there and ramp up as high as you can. Say it with me, right? Never trust a Nurgle in high sec. There are 2 reasons to fly a Nurgle in high sec. 1, burner missions. The Nurgle can fly. There's a Nurgle comp that you can get that can basically fly all of the burner missions. You just have to flip out modules. Or 2, suspect baiting. The Nurgle gets used because everybody thinks it's just a frigate. And so when it goes suspect because they steal your stuff or do something or shoot your MTU or whatever it is that they do, and you attack it, you are dead. It doesn't matter if you're an Apraxis or a Kronos or whatever. If you are not explicitly prepared to fight that Nurgle, you are already dead. Do not ever trust a Nurgle. If you see a Nurgle ever in high sec, just assume it is up to no good. Eating comm ships. The Skybreaker exists. In theory, they can do things, especially if you get a lot of them. But then, they can bounce into each other. The thing is that, so the Stormbringer is amazing for a lot of reasons. And the Skybreaker just does not break the thresholds needed that the Stormbringer does. Is that why everybody avoids you? Probably. Oh yeah, that's right. Nurgles can be part of the T6 Abyss team, but if you see, I would argue that you're not going to see those Nurgles in the Abyss. You're not going to see those Nurgles in high sec very long, because they're either going to be jumping into the Abyss or docking up. So Skybreakers can do Abyss. Can it? Wait, what? Hey, cheers. Hold on. Skybreakers do the Abyss? Is that real? Might have to look into that. Oh. Huh. Okay, so with other ships that do it better, they can hang. Got it. If you can't fly a Hawk, I guess? Yeah, oh, the Stormbringer. Mwah. Stormbringer is fucking amazing. Let's do that. We'll do that as a last. That's the end of the frigates, so we'll close out with that. So this is
Cheers.
Thank you so much. So here's the rules for this ship. Ignore the fact that I don't follow my own rule. If you take this fit, you are legally required to name your ship Snoo Snoo. Or at least acknowledge the fact that Snoo Snoo in chat is the guy who really made and popularized this fit. So you can usually see people like Torvald basically using something very close to this. But what you have is a A-type medium shield booster, Federation Navy 10-minute afterburner, Republic Fleet large cap battery, X-type EM shield hardener, C-type multi-spectrum, 3 Vorton tuning system 2s, and then defense operations solidifier, ancillary current router, capacitor control circuit. And then, of course, you can either go with the Vorton Projector 2 or the Faction 1 if you want to go extra fancy, get a little bit extra range. The thing is that, like, there's so little ways of improving this fit. Like, you can't improve its damage. And so, like, basically your 7 through 10 slot implants don't matter at all. So you can have one implant set that's like crystals and missiles and drones or something, and have it be for both the Gila and for the Stormbringer, and for other ships too. Yeah, you can have the Dark Cerberus, Firestorm Gila, Firestorm Exotic Gila, and the Electrical Edencom, and between those 3, you have 4 out of the 5, and the only one you're not doing is Gamma, and screw Gammas. Oh yeah, you can do the Gamma Vagabond if you want to do those. So I have a Thunder Child. It's not words are not repeatable for decency. We're not talking about battleships today. But the point is that so the fit is actually kind of expensive, obviously, but this thing will go through T5, T6, and mid-grade crystals are extraordinarily cheap right now. Like sub 500 million for an entire set of crystals. If you do not have a mid-grade crystal set and you fly anything with active shield boosts, you should seriously consider picking yourself up a set of mid-grade crystals. They're so cheap right now that they're cheaper than low-grade by almost half. Yeah. But the good thing about the Stormbringers is that, so while it is true that there are scenarios that the Stormbringer just dies in, i.e. if you get 3 potatoes in a row, or in the case of certain people, you get 9 potatoes in a row, then you have a problem. But other than that, this thing carves through the Abyss like butter, and it's really, really good for getting your Abyss kill X number of things if you need that every day. No mention to Asterology? Nope. I did not mention Asterology. How about that? All right. Anything else? Guys, we need... Well, 2 potatoes can kill you, depending on what the third room is. What are cheap implant? Crystals. Mid-grade crystals. What is my favorite weapon? Well, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Triglavian ships. I love disintegrators. Why do I like disintegrators? Because they've got really good range, really good tracking, so they can actually hit things smaller than you would expect and better than you would expect. But also they ramp, so their upper bound is greater than almost any other ship in its class. But if you combine these two things, what that means is that even if you have a small chance to hit something with your tracking, you still ramp up as long as they don't get outside of your optimal. So, like, for instance, in the Abyss, if I'm in an Icky Tursa and, like, there's a Damavik that's, like, running around me, and he happens to be able to, like, he dodges a shot or two, that third shot is going to hit like a truck because it's already been ramped up by two. Like, the more times I miss, the harder I hit you when I finally do hit. And so I really like that. I like to say that, like, when it comes to especially the assault frigate and the assault cruiser, the Icky and the Nurgle, that it's like, this isn't even my final form because you just keep on ramping up, you know? You can ramp up twice as far as everything else, 2, just like the number of likes that Sheesh is looking for. Oh my god. Here, I should shut off the stream before Sheesh can get his way. No, I really appreciate all of you guys. I think that does probably will be winding things down. I'm interested to know, I guess my question for people, the question of the day is, what is your favorite frigate and why? So comment that down below. But also, if you are interested, I've been thinking about doing Cyberpunk 2077 now that they've come out with 2.0. So I've been thinking about whether or not that was content that you might be interested in as well, even if it's my review or live streamed or recorded or whatever. So, did we make it? All right. Well, oh yeah, the pacifier. The pacifier is the hidden ship. The pacifier and the metamorphosis. The pacifier is a exploration ship. It is arguably the most combat effective exploration ship. It competes with the Astero, but it certainly is the fastest. If it's not Raid Shadow Legends, then I don't want to see it. Okay, well, fair enough. The thing about Mimitar ships is that, like, yeah, people that like Mimitar just like Mimitar, right? Trust in the rust. And I think that's the note. I used to say, you know, if you like lasers, you go Amar. If you like drones, you go Gallente. If you like, you know, easy mode missiles, then you go Caldari. And if you want to roleplay Firefly, you go Mimitar. All right. Well, yeah, I hope to fly with you guys all as well. If you're interested, please consider joining either the Convocation of Empyreans or the Invited or Aderon Robotics. You know, either working in the Gallente Faction Warfare Warzone, just getting people into the game, or getting involved with the Deathless. We have you covered, and we are here to maximize player engagement with EVE Online. And would love it if you would come to join us. But either way, I also would like to thank everybody who helps make this show possible, all the people that give likes, comments, subscribes, you guys, and, you know, Sheesh, the hype man, Arydanika, who is, you know, been helping out behind the scenes and has now edited the Angel Cartel video, so the Angel Cartel video that I made a week ago, she's now made a very clean edited version of it, so that should be coming out. For members, it's going to be out as soon as I'll do it as soon as I get done with the stream, and then for everybody else, it'll probably release tomorrow. On that note, thank you very much for all of the members. For just $1, you can get those early access to the videos and also the emotes. You can also join me on my Patreon. You guys really, like, that really does make a difference. But I do want to also give special shout out to my top supporters: Abyssus, Aikawarazu Chan, Arkas Ilring, Belligerent Neckbeard, Black Rose Noble, Dajat Lemmont, Drake, Golden Age Story. Wait, pause. That is now Federation Frontline. I don't know why that didn't get updated there. Federation Frontline, J. Coon, Lumi, Midnight Space Monkey, Milk, Not Just Fun, Seeds of Plenty, Serenolin with No Eyes, Shodanar, Syliana Vel'ash, Tgen Tgen, Nephilim, Grendel, Yantey Lepouf, Zaul Nex, Zero, as well as my Immortal tier supporters, 745 MPSI, Arydanika the Queen, Eboleet, May, Malak Starfire, Merc Utan, Nihilum. What?
Sorry, yo. Hi.
What?
Keep reading. Sorry.
Malak Starfire, Merc Utan, Nihilum, LM1, Sheesh, and Rid. Thank you so much. What did I do?
I was saying hi
Oh.
because you said my name, so I was like, yo.
Oh! Yeah, and thank you for Malak for waking up early and coming and not helping me do a wormhole. We're not quite even, but we're much close. No, I'm just kidding. But it is the weekend, so I'm going to be off doing that. And we're, I think, Dutch Gunner, or at least expect to see stuff about drifter fleets coming up. You can join the Discord to get more information, or probably the Arydanika Research Consortium's Discord is a good place to look for that. Get involved, as I said, with the invited and whatever. But with all that said, I have been Ashtarothi. Do you think the Worm's bonus stats so strong on 2 drones is a weakness, though? Easy to defend. But that's the thing, is that for what it's fighting, it's not. It's like, well, what do I do? So the thing about Gallente ship, or sorry, Garissa ships, when it comes to defanging them, is that it's not just that you have to burn through 3 times as much hit points in order to take one out. It's the fact that they have 8 drones, or 6 to 8 drones, or whatever it is. So as soon as you kill them, they just launch another one. And that whole time, you're not killing them, and they surely are killing you. Oh yeah, so Dutch is saying more information on the ARC Discord, and it will be happening at 2000 Eve time. Is it? No, I thought it was the Mamba has 10 drones, and because the Gila has 8. I gotta go. Have a good one, guys. I've been Ashtarothi, the voice of New Eden, and until next time, I'll see you in space.
Bring on the wrecking machine.
Sheesh, report to my office.
Every city you burn, I'm gonna build high. Bring on the wrecking machine, setting your dreams of heaven on fire. Bring on the wrecking machine. Bring on the wrecking machine. Bring on the wrecking machine. Gonna ignite your every desire. Bring on the wrecking machine. For every city you burn, let it burn, let it burn, let it burn.
101 likes. Drat. Sheesh got his way.
For every city